I'm Adam Kahane from Rios Partners, and I've been working in the field of collaboration for over 30 years, helping people work together who think they need to, even though they might not agree with or like or trust each other. And I've done it all over the world with all kinds of people, from business people to politicians to trade unionists, community activists, mostly in the field of addressing complex social issues: education, health, energy, climate change, food, peace, stuff like that. I got into this quite by accident. In 1991, I was working in strategic planning at Shell International, the oil company in London. We got invited to provide support to a group of South Africans to do strategic planning for the transition from apartheid to democracy. And they wanted to use a particular methodology that Shell was famous for, called scenario planning. They asked whether Shell could send somebody to facilitate the workshops, and as I was the youngest and most expendable member of the department, I was sent. That was a remarkable project. This was 1 year after Nelson Mandela had been released from prison and 3 years before the first democratic elections. But more particularly, I ended up working with a group that included people from across all of South African society: black and white, men and women, opposition and establishment, left and right, politicians, business people, trade unionists, community activists, academics. So that was my first ever experience with what we now call multi-stakeholder collaboration, or collaboration in complex and conflictual contexts. And well, to make a long story short, I never went back to my job, and that's what I've been doing ever since. I'm interested in how people can collaborate across difference, including people that don't agree with or like or trust each other. And what I realize is that can be done. It's possible. It's not easy or straightforward or guaranteed, but it can be done. I've seen it with my own eyes, even in the most extreme circumstances. But what I've realized is that there's two different ways to do it. In other words, there's not zero, not one, but two ways to go about it. The conventional way of collaborating, what most people think of when they think about collaboration, is we're all on the same team. We may have our disagreements, but we're trying to get the same thing. We subordinate our individual interests to the collective interests, and we'll make a plan and we'll follow through on it. In those contexts, conventional collaboration works fine. But in situations that aren't like that, conventional collaboration does not work and cannot work. And so I call the other kind of collaboration stretch collaboration, because it requires stretching beyond our comfort zones, like stretching in a gym. And it's for circumstances that are high in complexity, high in conflict, and where in particular there isn't really a sense of the we, or there might be some sense of the we, but we're not really on the same team here. We might have some things in common and some common objectives. That's why we're working together rather than not working together. But we really have important differences. We're on different teams. We have different objectives, and an entirely different approach to collaboration is required under those circumstances. I have applied collaboration and stretch collaboration in lots of different contexts, but not in family contexts. So I hadn't heard of this approach that you call collaborative professionals, and certainly I don't have any experience in it. My experience is using stretch collaboration in lots of different circumstances, but I don't really have any experience in family contexts, except as a member of a family that has the usual number of disagreements. So I first heard of collaborative professionals when I noticed there were people who were reading my book from that profession, and I was really very interested. I guess that what I'm calling stretch collaboration exactly matches the conditions that you're dealing with, where, yes, there's things you hope you can do together because you have certain interests related to having this situation be as amicable as possible, and maybe there's kids involved or assets involved, but we're no longer really on the same team, and we have more different interests than we have common interests, and there's lots of things involved, emotional and financial and personal and family issues. And so I think that what I'm calling stretch collaboration is really applicable in this field. Yes, I'm very excited that you all at the conference will be the first people to read this book. It's coming out several weeks after the conference, and it's always been one of my best selling books, I think, just because of the title as much as anything else. And yet there were things that I thought weren't quite right. So I was very happy to have the opportunity to prepare a second edition. In fact, it's mostly new frameworks, new examples, new stories, new exercises, etc. It's quite a bit longer than the original, in part because it has a lot of ways at the end of each chapter that you can start to work with and apply the concepts. A couple of things that are completely new. First of all, I've taken more seriously the notion of an enemy. Originally, that was a word in the title, but the book didn't really talk much about enemies. And I realize that people do have real enemies, people that are trying to injure or hurt them. And on the other hand, treating everybody who you disagree with as an enemy is a mistake. So I've elaborated that more carefully. I've talked about the way in which we need to work with three dynamics at the same time. Power, which is everybody's wish to do what they're trying to do and get where they're trying to go. Love, which is the word I use for the sense of a whole, even if it's a fractured whole. And justice, the sense of fairness. And I've argued that collaboration will only work if you can, in some way, tap into all three of those drives. The other big change in the book is that in the first edition, I said that conventional collaboration was obsolete. And I now think that's an exaggeration. There's lots of circumstances where teamwork works, conventional teamwork works, and that's great. But the contribution of the book is to say, what do you do when the circumstances are not right for conventional collaboration, when conflict and or complexity are too high? Then what do you do? And that's what stretch collaboration comes in. I'm excited to be joining you. Well, first of all, because Banff, for those of you who've never been there, is an absolutely spectacular place. So it's always a pleasure to be there. But also, I'm really interested in how the work I've been doing these last 30 years fits into this context that I know about but have no experience in. So I'm looking forward to the conversations in Banff and to seeing you all.